Welcome to the Fuel Only Podcast. My name is Shane Dunnigan, and I'm here with the great Joey Glover.
What's going on?
Joey, we survived week one. We made it through the rain.
We did. I didn't think we were ever going to get it. Xfinity, they had to push it.
Yeah, the Daytona 500 is in the books. And your winner, Joe, your winner is...
I didn't win anything. Literally 4 picks, didn't win anything.
Yeah, I didn't either.
But it was Byron. It was Chevy.
It was Chevy. My Chevy prediction rang true. Joey was over there hanging out with Ford. Ford had a good day.
They did until they got taken out by Chevy.
Yes, they did.
Byron and Bowman decided to take care of him, and then that was it.
I'll tell you what, it was an interesting race, Joe. You had a wreck on lap 6.
6, right away.
Really early in the race, Harrison Burton got used up pretty bad and spun around and took out one of my guys.
Yeah, he got caught up in it. I don't think he was ever the same.
Yeah, poor
Jimmy.
Poor Austin Dillon. Jimmy got tagged.
He didn't even get a shot in the race.
So I think it was Nemechek who was on the third. They went to 3 rows pretty quickly.
Yeah, Chastain, of course, jumped out there on lap 6 to try to be aggressive. And I know it's his first 500 and his first race as a Cup guy, and he was blocking lane 2 and 3. He would kind of go up there, slow him down, come up there, go, and it ended up not working out. Brad kind of just said, "I'm going," and pushed him. They weren't straight, and spun him. That was it.
No, but it was a beautiful race, and
weather was great.
You got the Rock there, brought out a few stars, pumping whatever the hell he's pumping these days.
Shit.
Spring football.
Yeah, UFL?
Yeah, something like that.
XFL and USFL or something. I don't know. They're together. But hey, football in the fall.
But it was a great race. We got the big one late, which was, I think, needed in this race. You never root for accidents, but it was pretty elementary and it was quiet. And we got the big one really late. We're going to get into that.
I didn't think we'd get it. I mean, it was crazy. I thought we'd get it on the last lap because it was like, man, they're staying. Denny talked about that. Did you see anything? I forgot to send that to you.
No.
Denny had his podcast yesterday, and he said he hated it. He said he hated the race. He said that he
was boring or what?
He said it was boring. Everybody was saving fuel, and he said, I want to have fun. I want to race. I want to go. And he said it wasn't fun. That everybody now is trying to save fuel. And he said he didn't have fun, and he was stuck in the middle half the race, and he just wanted to go, and he couldn't. They were, we were talking about that 45, 50% throttle and 60%.
Yeah, they were doing 170 miles an hour. I'm like, where's
the 190?
Yeah, where's the HP here? But before we get into that, I have a rant because we're going to do a little race recap, but NASCAR needs to fix something, Joey.
Yeah.
They need to fix their red flag policy, especially on these super speedways. It's a little bit different on other tracks because the tracks are shorter.
And you can get up to speed. You
can get up to speed. You're flying. But at the end of the race in stage 3, when there was a wreck with 8 to go, they got all the cars off the track. They threw a red flag. All the cars are stopped. By the time we restarted, there was 4 to go. So we've lost 4 laps.
Yeah.
By the time they get up to speed, there's 2 laps left. And then we get a wreck right at the end. And I'm okay with the policy of if somebody's crossed the white checkered flag and the green flag's in the air, they cross the start finish line.
They got the white flag.
Yeah. They get the white flag. Then I'm okay with the race ending at that point if there's a wreck. Because obviously for safety purposes, you're not going to make it all the way back around the track. But with the red flag policy, I think there should be maximum 2 yellow flag laps for people to pit. 4 yellow flag laps is pretty ridiculous because they robbed us of what could have been an even better finish.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think about that, but that's my bone to pick.
Yeah, I agree. 4 or 5 laps taken away when you can, possibly come back from 10th, 12th, 15th.
I mean, look at Austin Hill in the Xfinity race that night.
He kept coming back he was in the back, all the way to the front, all the way to the front, back, front, and it gave nobody a chance to come up and make a move. Ross Chastain, Byron, Bowman, all the guys that were up front towards the end, they were still there because they only had 3 laps to get going. Nobody had a chance to make a move. And, it sucks. If you have those extra 4 or 5 laps, people are going to start making moves. You're going to get that 3 wide and you're going to, go.
And we were texting, Larson went and took 2 tires and fuel because he was playing for another overtime.
Yeah.
And
Didn't get it.
Which was
okay.
Which was fine. I didn't mind the way the race ended. Good for William Byron.
Yeah, I thought it was Bowman almost when they were finishing. I didn't know if Bowman was in front, and a lot of people on Twitter came and said it looks like Bowman was in front.
And we like to tease Bowman because he's the redheaded stepchild of Hendrick Motorsports.
God, he bumped. I mean, yeah,
he's not the best teammate, but at the same time, the guy's trying to win races, so I understand.
Yeah, but yeah, Austin Hill, you give a guy even 10 laps, and they had 8. And
what's RCR going to do this week?
Are they going to pull him up he should be racing every RC or super speedway. 100%.
How could he not at this point? 3-peat at Daytona?
It's hard to get one. And I know it's, Xfinity, but to win 3 times in a row at Daytona.
Impressive. Joey, week 1's in the books.
It
the
is.
Daytona 500. We got a lot to talk about this episode. Atlanta. And guess what, Joey? No rain on the forecast.
0%.
What a beautiful thing.
Hey, it'll change.
Yeah. Stage 1 coming up next.
Stage 1. We know the intensity builds up.
Through the grass. Wow.
What a run. Blaney gets to win stage 1.
Joey, stage 1. Let's chat about Daytona.
Recap.
Before we move into
Atlanta.
Hot Atlanta. Stage 1 in the Daytona race was interesting. We brushed upon the lap 6 wreck, which was huge for strategy. And we talked about how Brad got into, it wasn't John Hunter, it was Hocevar. I misspoke in the...
It was
Hocevar. So it was the 42.
Yes, it was Hunter. It was John Hunter that was blocking.
John Hunter that was
got
blocking.
into Hocevar. Yes.
Got it. So stage 1, there's a wreck early and strategy goes out the window. For some. A lot of people came in to top off the fuel. Blaney did not, Joey.
34 spots he gained.
Blaney gets 34 spots. He goes to the front, and he immediately knows that he's not going to make it to stage 1 on fuel.
No.
And I think it was Larson's team got on the radio and said, hey,
it's helping us.
You're doing great. Keep it at 50% throttle, and we'll make it the whole way. And literally within a minute or 2 after that,
they come back from commercial.
And
the 4 cars are just shot.
Somebody tells Blaney to put his foot down. So suddenly they're at 100% throttle. Here we go. Because they know that the strategy was going to burn them, which forces other teams to pit.
Yeah. And it got crazy. I mean, every manufacturer started pitting. They came in. And it totally changed everything.
It did. And stage 1 was very entertaining after that. Teams were working together. Specifically, the Hendrick cars figured it out and got up front.
My guy and your
guy. But they were also with Kyle Busch.
Yes, they were with Kyle. He was running with them. And then they used him up at the end.
They did.
Nice.
They used him up, and Chase and Larson tried to make a slight move on Chase, and
it didn't work.
Chastain's up there too.
Yeah, he pushed Larson, and then he went down with Chase, gave a little bump to Chase, and Chase ended up pulling it out, and it was cool. The first race of the year, Daytona, baby, and we had both of our guys 1-2, and I thought it would kind of stay that way, and it didn't.
And you said good for Chase. Way to get the year started off on a good note.
Exactly, he needed that.
A little feel good, right?
Yeah, a little feel good
after he showed up late to the drivers' meeting,
right? Standing in the back, everybody's sitting down. Oh man!
But good stage 1. Stage 2 was a little bit less exciting. There was some strategy, but it was green the whole way. I don't think
stage 2.
I don't think we had a wreck in stage 2.
I believe so. It was a little quiet.
It was quiet. A lot of there was a couple times the third lane came into effect.
Yeah, but it was just.
Nobody wanted to wreck. Nobody wanted to be in the big one.
After that lap 6, Chastain going up there and being aggressive, a lot changed, and I like that none of our drivers were taken out, but it didn't help us at all. So
it's always interesting, the strategy at Daytona, because these guys, they don't take tires a lot of the time.
No,
and even though we're the fuel only podcast, every once in a while you have to take some tires, Joe.
And Byron, I think 2 or 3 guys took tires in the first pit stop, and Byron was one of them.
Which is interesting because you've only gone 5 green flag laps.
Exactly.
And you're coming to get tires already?
I wasn't sure because you're giving up track position on the 6th lap. Everybody's trying to gain track position. So it was weird. And look what happened.
Yeah, these super speedways are so much different than other tracks because you need tires, but you don't need them as much because you're in the line.
Exactly. And I guess with Byron taking tires, it doesn't necessarily hurt because if you're, say, anywhere else, not a super speedway, track position is huge.
Yep.
Huge. Qualifying is huge. Track position here,
you go a lap down.
It doesn't matter. I'm not saying you're a couple laps down, but if you're 30th, it doesn't matter.
You get in the right line, and next thing you know, you're 12th. You get over, you get back in the third. A third line opens up. Next thing you know, Joey Logano did it late in the race. He came in the third line.
Yes.
And they freaking
Kyle was in the very
and
back.
Gillen was pushing him.
Yes, and in 10 laps, you're from 30th to first like that, and so
and
Byron
Haley had a nice race too. Haley was up there for a while.
He did, and then he had a bad break. McDowell, started on the front row, and
he was slow,
and he had electrical issues.
Yeah,
so something happened. I was reading something. First pole for Penske. Penske's huge. First pole ever at Daytona.
That's crazy.
Since 1972, I believe. It was baffling to me when
I saw that.
You're talking
50 years.
Yeah, it was baffling. I just wanted to throw that out. That was baffling to me. And Ford couldn't get it done. But it was a good...
What'd you think of the new Mustang look?
I like it. It's weird. There's no blue oval. You can't tell it's a Ford.
They changed the front a lot.
If you turn on the TV and you see that car compared to everybody else's, you don't know what it is. If you don't know what the little Mustang logo is, you don't know what it is. And I was on Twitter, whatever, going through and scrolling, and people are like, you don't even know what car that is. And I don't know if that's bad marketing or whatever, but I like it. You just got.
Did the Camrys change too?
They did. Yeah, they changed to the new 2024. They put out a commercial, and it's almost to a T of what the one's coming out this spring for Toyota.
Which was the pace car, right?
Yes, correct.
So on to stage 3, we were waiting for the big one, Joe, and we got it.
We did.
Well, I already had my rant about the red flag restart, so I'm not going to go back down that road.
One more laps. But yeah, at lap 10, I had seen the stat. The leader with 10 to go has only won the race once in the past 10 years, and that was Denny Hamlin.
Wow.
Our guy Hamlin.
Because you get used up.
Yeah, you're a sitting duck 95% of the time. And, I thought Chastain had a fast car.
He had a really fast car. He kept finding his way up front.
I thought he had, and he's the guy to do it. He's going to be aggressive. And that's what took him out in the end. He's going to be aggressive, but he was leading at 10 to go. I texted you and I said, Chastain, 10 to go. Can he do it and join Denny? And it didn't happen. He was aggressive. He went, like you said, he went for the win at Daytona. Nobody was mad. In all the post-race, I guess, comments, everybody said it was a Daytona finish. Everybody's going for the win. You can't be mad, because I know Brad got taken out. Logano got taken out. All these guys got taken out. And you're going for the win at Daytona.
You are, Joe. Speaking of winning at Daytona, Hendrick Motorsports' 9th career Daytona 500 win, tied for most all time with Petty, who we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Broke a 10-year drought for Hendrick. Chevy 1-2 finish. One person in this podcast took Chevy.
Yeah, they were an underdog, though. That's what's crazy, to finish 1-2. That's big for them.
That'd be me.
Yeah.
I loved Harvick in the booth when he said, I have a 50% chance of finishing the race. And Boyer goes, man, that seems pretty low. He goes, I talked myself up a lot higher than that. But in reality, you look at these guys and you get in that car.
You never know.
There's a big chance you're going to wreck.
Yeah.
You're going to get in one of the wrecks.
Exactly, the big one. How many cars? I think there was 24 cars left after that or something like that. And Chase, did you see Chase get through that? He stuck and he made it through that, which was crazy. And I thought, maybe it was luck and it was going to be his day making it through the big one like he did. And it did not work out.
No.
He flew back 10, but he went outside lane and got shot back, and that was it.
Well, it took till President's Day, Monday, but I thought it was all in all a good race.
It was. I wish we had another one coming up, but we have Atlanta.
We have our mini super speedway.
We have our mini super speedway. A lot of guys, Harvick was talking about that. He wasn't good. He didn't like super speedways, and 2 in a row. It's never been like that. It's supposed to be Fontana. They took Fontana out.
Rest in peace, Fontana.
Yes. So off to Atlanta.
Stage 2 coming up next.
Haley pushes him. Elliott's going to win stage 2.
Nice work.
Stage 2, Joey. We're off to Atlanta. Daytona is a thing of the past. Let's talk about Atlanta Motor Speedway, Joe, because you were there.
1998.
Wow.
I was 8 years old.
So prior to the repaving in 2022, Atlanta was 1.5 miles, your typical intermediate track. But NASCAR decided that it would be good to have a third super speedway type event.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2022, they repaved it and made the banks higher to promote the super speedway racing. Prior to that, Atlanta was last repaved in 1996, about close to the time when you were there.
Yeah, 2 years before.
Do you remember anything about that race?
It was cold. It was very cold. Rain delays. It ended, I think it was 221 laps. They called it. Jeff Gordon won. He won his championship. And I was only 8 years old. I do remember being there. I remember the noise, just everything about it. It was so much fun. And as you get older, you appreciate it more. I don't know if I necessarily appreciated it like I should have, but oh man, it was fun. And that was my first race at 8 years old. And, Sonoma's and all the other ones we go to and that I've been to, it was fun.
I would love to go to Atlanta someday.
We need to now.
I know. Now that the track's all freshened up. So the previous winners since 2022, William Byron,
Mm-hmm.
Chase Elliott,
Mm-hmm.
Joey Logano, and William Byron.
I know. That's Chevy and the one Ford.
So as we get into our picks this week, Joe, do you have a lean on which manufacturer you might be going with?
I got to go Chevy.
Oh, you're going to take Chevy from me this week.
I got to.
I mean, you got Chase, you got William.
Chase won there last, I believe, his hometown. I mean, it's his home track. So, I mean, you got to go with him.
It's going to be a big deal for Chase. Looking forward to Atlanta this week. Joey's leaning Chevy, so I'm maybe I'll go take Toyota just to throw a curveball in there.
Toyota's been figuring some things out. So
we keep waiting for Bubba to win one.
Yeah, he was up there.
Him and Denny were pushing really hard last week, so I'd imagine they're going to come to Atlanta with a ton of speed.
And these are his races, and he knows that they're what he has. And after this, it kind of goes down. So he's going to bring it all, and he's got to be disappointed after Daytona.
We're going to change things up a little bit. I think, we want to be a pod that is not crazy long for you guys to listen to.
And not just rambling.
Not rambling. And
we would love to.
Yeah. Probably closer to a half hour as opposed to 45 to an hour. So we're going to scrap overtime, and we're going to do our picks in stage 3 for the near future, and we'll see how it goes. So stage 3 and our picks
coming up
next.
I'm a believer. They're in it for the long haul.
Let's go! Yeah! All right!
Stage 3, Joe. Woo! Time for picks.
We didn't do very well last week.
No, none of us hit. We both took 4 drivers, three value that we liked, and then 1 long shot.
And we did 3 in a sleeper there. It's a you never know.
No.
And it's kind of like that in Atlanta, but we're gonna go 1 and 1. One pick and 1 sleeper.
Yeah, we'll just tighten it up and we'll see how it goes. Last week, although I picked the correct manufacturer, Joey got Bubba Wallace with a 5th place finish.
Still didn't win anything.
No. Larson with an 11th place finish for me, and Joey's boy Chase 14th.
Yeah. Everybody else, yeah, we won't talk about it.
No. And we discussed this last week on the pod, but when you gamble on super speedways, you get a little bit better value because there's going to be some accidents.
You never know what's going to happen.
No. So our 2 picks this week, for manufacturer purposes,
I went Chevy.
you went Chevy, and I'm going to go Toyota. But why Chevy, Joe?
I mean, they went 1-2 last week, Shane.
They did.
How do you not? And I love Chevy, but I'm going to go Ford. Blaney, 10-1. What do you think?
For your pick, I think that's a good pick.
He looked good last week.
And you know his team's going to do whatever they have to do.
They were disappointed. They tried to make it happen last week. They didn't. And 10-1. Throw $10 on there. Win $100.
You got to do it.
You got to do it.
I'll do my go-to pick this week. Lock it in. Call your bookie. Do whatever you got to do. Denny Hamlin, 11-1. Joe, can you believe it?
No comment.
Denny's coming with a hot rod every week, and I think Denny's going to have a huge year. I don't know if it's going to result in a championship, but you can chalk Denny up for five plus wins a year. He really, and if you follow NASCAR, he crushes the back half of the races, the Poconos and the Martinsvilles. And
I saw him coming last week, and I saw him coming last week, and I'm like, no, don't do it. Just stay back there, and he made it up there.
So my first pick is Denny. Your first pick, Blaney. Who's your longer shot this week?
LaJoy. Corey LaJoy was good last week, and he knows how to race these tracks. 40-1. I mean,
40-1?
40-1 for a guy that, correct me if I'm wrong, he had a top 10 last week, and 40-1 for a guy that knows how to race these tracks. Take it. 40-1. I'm going to throw 20 on it.
We're big Corey LaJoy fans on this pod.
We are.
He seems like a cool guy.
Yes.
So
100%.
if Corey I might throw a couple bucks on Corey LaJoy this week.
Sprinkle it.
Might as well. For my longer pick, I'm going to go with Chris Buescher. And I expected a little more out of Chris last week, to be honest.
I did too.
Him and Brad didn't really find each other as much as I think they would have liked.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I do. Now that I'm thinking back, they never really it was mostly Logano and Brad.
It's hard when you have a 2-car team to find your guy. So then you end up linking up with the manufacturer. You end up just finding Chevys. But like with Hendrick, they have 4 cars. So it's a little easier to find a buddy.
Reagan was racing, though. The 60 car was in there.
Oh, you're right. Reagan did have a good run.
Reagan did. He did. But it's not the same.
No.
Nothing against Reagan. It's not the same.
No. So my long shot, Chris Buescher, 18-1. You can find him at 20-1 or higher on some other books if you're shopping lines. Chris Buescher had a great year last year. There's no reason for me to believe that he can't be up there.
Yeah, he surprised a lot last year. I mean, he had some wins.
He had a great year last year.
To make the playoffs and move up in the playoffs. So we'll see how that works. I know I took LaJoy, and I think you would have taken LaJoy. We love him. So 40-1.
40-1. That's
$20, $800.
Might need to.
Help pay rent.
Couldn't hurt. Well, we're going to keep it short and sweet for you guys this week. Stage 3, our picks in the books. Joey, we're off to Atlanta. Any last words?
I enjoyed Daytona. I'm excited for Atlanta. Drink responsibly.
God bless America. Thanks for listening.